Denise's shoulders when her sister tried to rise. "You stay here. I'll bring the outfits to you." Samaya made her way to the bedroom's huge walk-in closet and slid the knotted pine barn door, the deciding factor in buying this condo, to the side. She stepped in and thumbed through her dresses. "What about the blue one you wore to your classmate's wedding a few months ago?" Denise called. "What was her name? Tabitha?" "Tamira," Samaya grimaced, recalling that night. She'd spent much of the wedding reception getting hit on by Tamira's sexagenarian uncle, whose fake silk shirt seemed to lose more buttons as the night dragged on. She'd spent the next morning scrubbing a stain from the bust line after he'd sloshed her with his Jack and Coke while pressing her to dance to an Isley Brothers tune from the mid-'70s. Samaya doubted she'd ever wear that dress again. "Not that one," she said. In fact, if Denise wanted it, she could have it. She settled on dark blue skinny jeans and a red cowl-neck sweater, which seemed more appropriate for this evening's amended plans and the unseasonable nip in the air on this early August night. Austin usually felt like a sauna until at least late September. Originally, she and Craig were supposed to start their evening with dinner, but he texted just after she was leaving work to tell her that he'd gotten caught up at the office and wouldn't be able to make it downtown until late. He'd offered to call and cancel, which was the least he could do, since she had been the one who'd spent a half hour on the phone securing the dinner reservation. Samaya would be lying if she said she wasn't annoyed. She'd been looking forward to returning to the Asian fusion spot where they'd had their first date. The restaurant continued to generate an insane amount of buzz around town, and reservations weren't easy to come by. But she wouldn't bitch about it. At least not too much. Joining Denise for beef patties from the Jamaican food truck down the street, along with Amy's ice cream, had soothed the sting of missing out on good sushi. And the night was still young. She and Craig would enjoy a little late-night noshing and gritty blues music at the new club that had recently opened up on 6th Street, the epicenter of Austin's nightlife. She unhooked a faux suede cropped jacket from the hanger and held it up just under her chin. Come to think of it, each of her 4 dates with Craig had been at a club or bar on Dirty 6th, as some locals called it. Granted, she was the one who'd suggested they go to this new blues club, but only because it was the first thing that came to mind on such short notice, and Craig never seemed to have any suggestions. Next time, she would propose something with a different flair, like exploring the caverns in Georgetown or hiking in Bastrop State Park. "Let's see what you'd say to that," Samaya murmured as she returned the jacket to the hanger. A couple of the guys she'd dated in the past had been surprised to learn that, despite her sharp business attire, perfectly styled hair, and always on-point makeup, she was an outdoors girl. Hell, it had surprised her too. Samaya had grown up in Houston's 3rd Ward. The closest she'd ever gotten to the outdoors was eating a sandwich on a bench in Moses Leroy Park, with the traffic from I-45 whizzing overhead. But in the years since she'd moved to Austin, she'd acquired a taste for the unique adrenaline rush one receives at the completion of a hike to the summit of Mount Bonnell, or a bike ride through Zilker Park. She tried to picture Craig trotting up the rocky terrain of the Texas Hill Country in his loafers. The image refused to even take shape in her mind. Maybe they could compromise and go to one of those indoor rock climbing places. At least there would be air conditioning. Craig would insist on air conditioning. And no bugs. "Are you sure about this guy?" Samaya quashed her pesky inner voice that had started making an appearance more frequently than usual. Craig wasn't perfect. No one was perfect. But at least he was employed, had manners, and could sort of tell a decent joke when the occasion arose. Okay, fine. So his sense of humor left something to be desired. Was that a good reason to write someone off?